And good morning, everyone, and welcome to Small Biz Matters, the half-hour program where you work on your business rather than in it. My name is Alexi Boyd, and I'm super excited to be welcoming a couple of wonderful gentlemen, real bastions of the community today, because we're going to be talking all about how we as small businesses can integrate ourselves better in the community. It's one of our focal points with Small Biz Matters. We are a community-related show on community-related radio, and we try and encourage everyone to get connected, understand where our place is, and find ways that we can really give back, because essentially we're trying to work with our community, not only as clients, of course, but in terms of building a better community in which we can live, because that means better employment, that means better employees, that means better facilities for us as small businesses. And considering we have to work as a team because some other team players, such as local government, won't come on board, we need to work. That was my little political moment there. we need to make it a way in which we can all collaborate in our journey as small businesses. One of those major players locally, of course, is the PCYC. Now, last time we had a couple of representatives come on board. We had Ian from Rotary and, of course, Peter, who's with us today, talking about PCYC. Now, last time we were chatting in the room, Peter, we were talking about the fact that it was halfway through a build. I mean, that was a year ago. So much has happened. So much has exploded in the world of PCYC. Where are you at? What's happening? Tell us a little bit about the programs and things that are going on.
Well, good morning, Alexi. It's a pleasure to be back again, and also I'd like to welcome David Grant. David's the PCYC club manager. So David came on in January as the club started its new venture, and he's now driving it forward, so doing a great job.
Well, over to you, Peter. You tell me what's happening, because you're the man on the ground, of course. You're the one who's got the finger on the pulse, as it were, and it's a pulsating animal now. Let's face it, in only a few short months.
For anyone who's been there, it is a hive of activity. It is like a beehive. We have all the entire community's been coming in and supporting what we're going through. We've got 8,000 members now at the club, which is amazing. And about 65% of them have come from the local postcodes. So anywhere from Wahroonga or St Ives to Barara pretty much make up 65% of our members, which is amazing. It shows that we're really serving the local community, which is what we aim to do. Mm-hmm. And then everything from our sporting programs right through to our police mission-based programs where the police are involved with kids at risk of offending or young offenders. Everything's happening there at the moment, and we're driving forward, as Peter said, and we're aiming for 10,000 members, and that's what we're trying to get to.
It doesn't sound like it's going to take you very long. I mean, what was the date of opening, Peter? What was it?
We opened early September last year.
So
the official opening was on the 8th of November, but we opened the doors in September. So and of course, coming from the old George Street premises, we had to downsize into the bowling club area. Where we're going to rebuild that site some time back. So that's another long story. We probably went down to sub 1,000 members. So it's had to build up from there in a rapid period of time. So part of the success there, as David said, we are serving the local community, and there's a lot of foot traffic, and over 2,000 of our members come from the Waitara part of the 2077 postcode. And I think that's brilliant to show that we are serving our local community. But then having 12 high schools feeding in, and we've got another potential 13, another high school coming in. So this is all helping to drive the membership and build the visit. The cafe is doing extremely well. It's there to support the Northern Suburbs Cricket Club and all the football on the Mark Taylor Oval, and that's been a successful story. So I think it's running in a profit. So David can comment on that. But and of course the new youth hub I'll talk about a little later on. And the Rotary support there has been brilliant. We are now engaging with Hornsby Lions on a new venture. We're signing up an agreement there. So there's a lot of things happening that helps us tie into the communities. It's pointless PCYC saying, this is our patch, that's your patch there, that's your patch there. We're part of the community. And my vision years ago was we're going to become the new backyard for all the high-rise. Was become more than that. We're now becoming the community hub. And we're seeing that now, the mums and bubs and the district nurse and the kids and the play area, all that's happening. It's just, and David can talk about some vision for the future about, creche facilities and allow the mums to get into the fitness centre and other activities there. So it's really building rapidly. and in my opinion, serving the community as we should do.
Well, that's exactly right. And so many times you know that there's a lot of groups out there trying to serve the community, but often it becomes about space. And really, you've not only received the space and got the space, but you've really made the most of it. And I think what you're saying there about interconnecting with different groups, and you're working in with existing infrastructure like the council, the schools, the hospitals, and just interconnecting everything there. Let's talk a little bit about small business and how you're working with them in ways. I know that you're well connected with the Hornsby Chamber of Commerce and working on different projects with that group. But you've also got some facilities that are available, David, for small business as well. So can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, so we have multiple function rooms available for small business and at very reasonable rates as well. We have a boardroom, which they're not hugely available in this area. It's very hard to get one.
They're just not available. There's just nothing there. I'll say that right now for small business.
So yeah, our president's room is a boardroom. It seats 14 around a round table, and then there's if the need is for more, there is then that a row which can go around the outside of them if they don't require all table space. Mm-hmm. So generally we can get around up to sort of 25 people in there. 15 to 20 is comfortable. Anything under 15 is perfect because everyone gets a spot at the table that way. We also then go up to our next spaced room, which is can be used as our group fitness room at the moment, but can also be hired as a space. It's a bigger space than the boardroom. We've had birthday parties in there. We've had local meetings in there for local car dealerships. And then we have our big multi-purpose room, which is a huge space that overlooks Mark Taylor Oval. We can seat about 220 people in there for a function. We also have the ability with full sound system in there. We can do presentations.
That's fantastic. This is really exciting because as you mentioned, we don't have this sort of facility. So maybe there is a possibility for, say, a small business expo or something like that to happen in the local community. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's a fantastic facility to provide. Thank you. How do people find out about that in particular?
So you can jump onto our website, which is pcycnewsouthwales.org.au/Hornsby Ku-ring-gai. Or you can give us a call, 899 85400. Will get through to us. We can give you all the prices and everything. As I said, we're super reasonable. We're a not-for-profit, so we're not there to gouge anybody of any of their desperate funds that they have, especially with small business. And we know how hard it is for small businesses, so we do look after the local community really well.
And other ways that small business can connect in with PCYC programs, for instance, how do you bring, as a collaborative venture, bring everyone together in that way?
Yeah, we have different options in that way. So there are opportunities for businesses to be sponsors of PCYC, which is always helpful. But we also have those the programs that we're running to assist local businesses. So our police at the moment are running a program that will begin in term 3. So they're just starting, all their planning's going on at the moment for it, which is to bring. It's around the youth at risk and the young offenders that are hanging around the fountain area in Westfield, and it's causing some issues for local businesses, saying it's not a desirable place to be of an evening when you want to go out and have a meal. It's quite distracting and actually affecting business. So our youth case managers, Constable Paul and Constable Lisa, have been organising this program in regards to giving those kids other options, bringing them to PCYC, potentially working with Westfield, looking at doing things on the roof of their car park when it's not quiet, activities up there. But Paul's also looking at taking kids to animal shelters to help out with that, to give them something else to do and a different purpose, instead of hanging around that fountain area of a night where it's not only affecting small business, but it's also taking up the local area command's time and resources as well. Yeah,
and taking away those resources from the local community as well. Not that they don't absolutely have a right to use it, just in an appropriate fashion.
Yeah, correct.
So that's a really wonderful way that you're listening to small business as well. Perhaps the council could take a few notes from that, just a thought. But that's me, my soapbox again. So Peter, you've obviously worked with the community for a great number of years. You've worked with the Rotary organisation and also, I assume, Lions as well. How do you think that the PCYC moving forward is going to really be that big piece of puzzle that we've been missing in Hornsby. It sounds to me like it really is a hub. I think it's a great way a community hub to just bring everything together. Do you see that? Was that the long-term vision, or has this just happened organically because there was such a need?
Well, interestingly, this whole project of the new club came out of Rotary and my involvement with Rotary. So, in fact, you go back in time, 81 years ago, the whole PCYC movement came out of Rotary. So the first club was actually called the Police Rotary Boys Club in a disused police lockup in Woolloomooloo. So the Commissioner of Police was a member of Sydney Rotary and wanted to get kids off the street and in a non-confrontational way with the police on the streets. They were being confronted by the police and so on. So, and that was the vision way back then. That's still the vision today. However, working with youth at risk is a very small percentage, but it's a key thing to what we do. It separates us from every other youth organisation in Australia. So that's really a major thing. So the involvement in Rotary, I know in particular Warringah Rotary has been very supportive for many years. For, in particular, the police programs, funding police programs, but also the vehicle we have there, the 8-seater vehicle, through the Novus Foundation. We're a beneficiary this year from Novus, so we'll see how that goes. But we're now looking at a 12-seater vehicle that police can use primarily to run these kids to different venues for some of the outreach programs they're running. And the new youth hub I just talked about earlier on has been funded by 8 local Rotary clubs, and this is an amazing venture because Rotary clubs tend to be individual, independent.
I think everyone's individual because they don't have that interconnectivity that you are bringing to the local community.
And there are some local, like the Bobo event, there's 4 Rotary clubs support that. A couple of other ventures where a couple of Rotary clubs work together. But the PCYC having 8 Rotary clubs support that's just been amazing. So it's opened a lot of people's eyes to see what's going on. And of course now with our friends at Lions, John Lockyer and the people there, I've had a long association with John through the Chamber of Commerce and through way back when. So having those connections come in too is phenomenal. You're talking about the small business matters. Of course, the PCYC is a small business in its own right. If you go back to the old club, we had about a club manager and an assistant manager and administrator and a couple of part-time activity coordinators. Well, what David's got now is a business where there's, over 30 full-time, part-time, casual employees, plus the volunteers. So David might want to talk about the PCYC from a small business perspective because that is quite significant for our community. It's what we're doing there as a small business.
That's absolutely right. I mean, it's commended to be. It's a commendation. No, it's commendable. That's the word I'm trying to think of. It's commendable to have brought something up so quickly but the resources are there because of that interconnectivity, definitely. So that growth phase, pretty phenomenal, as Peter was saying. 30 staff, huge grounds, huge space. You must be a really good project manager to coordinate all of that. That's fantastic.
Look, a manager is only as good as his team, and I've got a very good team down there. I've got a great group of I've got a great advisory committee headed by Peter, our president. We've got great staff. We've got amazing volunteers that just give up their time. Like, there's nobody that wants to be there more than a volunteer. They've given up their time. They've given up their day. And the amount of times that our volunteers are 16, 17, 18 years old blows my mind. At 16 and 17 and 18, I was kicking a football around the oval and hadn't really thought of that, whereas these kids, it's on their mind. We want to help out for your school holiday programs with the kids. We want to get in there and just do something to help the local community, and that just blows my mind. So that sense of community amongst the staff and the volunteers and the advisory committee is kind of what's made it go from 4,000 members when I started in January to 8,000 members now where we are. So it's all about team. There's no I in team.
And I think it's a lot to do with the magic that is Hornsby. We were mentioning just before the program in the office, we were talking about, I believe that Hornsby has one of the highest proportions of volunteerism per capita anywhere, possibly in the country, definitely in New South Wales. Something we should be singing about, and something that when you've got the strength of a group like PCYC that is already interconnected and interwoven, really can draw in the power of all of that. And then keep growing, keep connecting, keep bringing more and more organisations, not-for-profits, space, sports, all that sort of thing on board. Look, we're just going to take take a quick short break here on Small Biz Matters, and then after the break we're going to talk a little bit about the way that you connect in with schools and the youth in particular, because that is obviously your strength. You're listening to Small Biz Matters. We will be back on Triple H after this. And you're listening to Small Biz Matters, the half-hour program where you work on your business rather than in it. Today we are talking about getting interconnected with your local community, and what better way to do that than through a very well-established organisation known as PCYC. We've all got PCYCs in our local communities all over Australia, and we're lucky to have them, not only because of the tradition that they have of supporting youth and supporting youth programs, but also supporting the local community as well. We were talking a little bit before the break about that with our special guests, and let's talk a little bit more about that, the way that you connect in with schools and the youth in particular, because that is really what PCYC is all about. Now, just at the beginning of the show, for those of you who missed it, we were talking a little bit about why that's important with, I guess, reducing crime, reducing street presence for disaffected youth to help small business. So that is definitely one way that interconnects. But that strong point of PCYC and the connectivity with schools, what sort of programs have you got going on at the moment?
Yeah, so schools obviously come in for school sport, which is a major part of our daytime business is school sport. We also had the school principals forum come in with over 2 consecutive days. We had the high school principals there one day, and the next day the primary school principals, where we were able to discuss what we can offer the local school communities in regards to being at their fates. We were at Hornsby North, as you know. We were at Hornsby North fate earlier in the year.
The best fate in the world.
And we still want to be part of the Hornsby Heights fate and other schools in the area. So getting involved in those options, but also offering a chance for us to go to schools that can't come to us. So an opportunity for us to speak at assemblies for the primary schools in particular, we're looking at running what we call active assemblies, where the standard assembly happens, but in between awards or in between talks from the principal, one of our trainers gets up and gives the kids a little bit of activity to do, because getting active, especially early in the morning at assemblies, is a great way to start your day. Mm-hmm. And it stops that fidgeting that happens during your standard assembly if the assembly's going a little bit longer. So we're looking at active assemblies, but also through to their sport. If we know how expensive buses can be these days to get multiple schools, and we're lucky with Waitara Public that they're able to walk to us. So they're the one primary school that do come to us every week. But it's a chance for us to use the school's facilities by sending our coaches and our trainers out to the school, using the basketball courts that the school have, using the ovals that the school have, for us to conduct the sport for them, and it saves them coming to us. And that's another way we can try and reach out to the school community as well. So we do have 12 schools at the moment, of which 11 are high schools, and we do have the one primary school, which is Waitara Public, that do come to our facility. We are always looking for others. We do have still some spaces available on certain days in particular. I know we've heard from Leo's and Knox as potential opportunities there over the coming months, which is nice. We did open it up to start with to public schools because we wanted to be part of that community. Mm-hmm. But we are open to anyone. We've just had Narembeen come on, which is amazing, because Narembeen is a
that's miles away, isn't it? Isn't that Northern Beaches kind of way?
So that's I don't know exactly where they are. I do know of the school, and I know that they do have a very high number of...
Oh, wait, I'm thinking of Narembeen. Yeah, so I had to go to...
Narembeen is further down near Willoughby,
down. I think. I made that mistake. I started driving to the Northern Beaches when I was trying to see someone.
Yeah, it's down near Willoughby or something, I believe, and they have a high population of kids on the autistic spectrum and things like that. So they now bring sort of 8 to 20 kids 2 to 3 times a term. That relationship started last week, which was really good, and they want to continue that. I got an email this week to say they want to continue that. So reaching out with the schools has been a huge part of what we do. Obviously, where I grew up down in Revesby, and we didn't have a PCYC down there. So our schools went to YMCAs and things like that. But as Peter was saying, since we've opened, I can now drop my son off to Hornsby Heights, and Peter drops his grandkids to their local public school, and I can be in uniform because I may be on the way to work or whatever. And the kids are just recognising the logo, and that's the start of getting the kids used to that being part of their community, and it's
And part of their resources as well, because if they see that in that positive light, then obviously down the track, if they're having difficulties or they're getting into trouble, then they see that in a positive way instead of seeing it as, someone's
Correct.
just trying to fix things.
And it's the same as when they're young kids engaging with our police. We make all of our interactions with our police, especially during school holidays. We have our school liaison police. Linda comes down and brings the car and brings some vests and some Kevlar vests and hats and everything for the kids to try on and have photos with, which is really good for that, to take that notion away that the police are this big scary monster, because they're not. The police are here to help, and that's what we want from the police. There's a lot of people that will walk around Westfield and see the police or walking around or doing their local patrols, and it's like, oh, steer clear of them. And it comes from that fact that when we're driving, if we see a police, us parents go, oh, police car, and we kind of steer clear.
What have I done? What have I done wrong? Yeah.
And we don't know what effect that's having on the kids in the back going, oh, we don't want to be near the police. So we're trying to break that stigma as well. So that's always good for the kids to see. And so our police come out during the school holidays, and they may play a couple of sports with the kids on the courts. They do the police car interaction, and we try and get the police involved in all our community events. We have our combined club 50th and new club's first birthday in September, on the 9th of September, where we're going to start calling out for stall holders to want to be involved in a food and craft type of fair.
Oh, fabulous.
Which would be great. And that comes down to local community wanting to be involved with PCYC, us wanting to be involved with the local community and get people there and get that vibe happening that Peter was talking about earlier.
And so people can learn about as well what facilities that you've got available and how you do interconnect. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, you mentioned during the break that there was also some engagement with a number of schools in the area, including the high schools and the primary schools. And you also work with schools with a disability faction to them as well, such as St Edmunds. Tell me a little bit about that, the relationship that you have with that school in particular and how you support them.
Can I jump in there? Where that came about is I'm part of the Rotary Club of Wahroonga, and Wahroonga Rotary has a connection with St Lucy's and with St Edmunds and a whole range of PCYC and Triple H and Hornsby Kringai Community College, a whole range of organisations. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, this is community connections. How do we bring these different parties together to support each other? So I was giving a didgeridoo talk over to St Edmunds, their assembly, a couple of weeks ago, and just had the opportunity to talk about PCYC, talking about what we're doing now with this vision to embellish what we're doing with disability sports. We've had talks with Sports New South Wales and with organisations like this to be more inclusive. So I gave a bit of a talk there, and they jumped on that. So then we've had one of the teachers there come across and look through our facilities last week, and now we're going down that path. So I think it's these relationships you can build through the community, through understanding the community and being involved, and then how you bring these people together. It's like you with Triple H and Small Business Matters and so on. You just understand the community and bring these partners and people together. And I think there's a very strength, and one of the strengths that we have through Rotary, through PCYC.
And now that you've got the facilities to back that up as well, that's really exciting. Have you got any actual small businesses who use the complex for their own businesses themselves?
Yeah, so Kumon, who do mathematics and English for kids that's not their first language.
And for anyone, actually. Yeah, just that whole support.
So they come in. There's also a business called Speakers Club. Again, helping kids with public speaking. Talent Club, which has they do creative writing and drama, so they also hire one of the spaces. And we've also been talking to a physio or a couple of physios in regards to potentially hiring out a space inside our gym, a room inside our gym where they would be able to offer their services to our members to do that. So we're always looking at different ways, and we've put a shout out there as well because we're looking for 2 external personal trainers.
Excellent.
To come on board as what we call personal training rentals, where they come on, they take all the money they earn from their personal training and pay us a small rental.
Right. But it's indoors.
Yeah,
correct.
So it gives
fantastic.
them an option to do their personal training with us as part of PCYC, and PCYC Uniform, a reputable brand to be associated with, and a really good chance for personal trainers to do that sort of thing. So we're always looking for new people. We've just had a chat with the Lions Club regarding a community kitchen where there's going to be a group of people coming in each week and sharing their recipes and doing some cooking, and they will showcase that at our September 9 event.
Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
they'll have
Like cooking classes or something like that for the local community?
Yeah, correct.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So that's really good. We've got it's not a commercial kitchen, but it is a kitchen that is there that can be hired as a space. It's a decent sized kitchen. It's probably bigger than your standard home kitchen. We can probably fit 10 people in there in regards to cooking. A lot of bench space, a lot of spaces for people to share those ideas and share those recipes and move on. So it's something different again.
Yeah.
We're open to every idea that comes to us. We've had people talking to us regarding potentially starting wheelchair rugby on our basketball courts.
Oh, that'd be awesome. My friend is an Olympian in wheelchair basketball, and I'll tell you what, when I take my girls to that, wow, that's full on.
They're brutal.
It's frightening.
It's crazy.
You don't want to get in the middle of that crap
No.
pack when they're having a go.
No.
That'd be fantastic. So it's really you're looking for anything, really.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got an idea, you've got some sort of a proposition where you want to connect in with the local community, even if you are a for-profit, that's not necessarily a not something that you're not doing. Because it sounds to me like you've got so many facilities and a timetable that you just want to squash in as many things as you possibly can.
Absolutely. And we've got community paediatrics, so the community nurse who talks to the new mums. They now using our facility. They come twice a week.
So the early childhood.
Yeah, the early
thing.
childhood nurse comes along, and from there they're forming mums groups that begin at PCYC. So Tuesdays and Thursdays the cafe's pumping with new mums groups, which is amazing. We've got the space for their prams. We've got indoor options if it's weather like it is today. We've got beautiful outdoor seating when it's days like last week, not today.
And that in turn feeds through to other community organisations and also businesses, because if you think about it, those mums group are coming together as the kids get older and they outgrow their prams and can no longer sit still. They're looking for other facilities as a group.
Yeah, correct.
Then they go on to your gym jams or your other fantastic
they go into our kinder gyms. They go into our Rotary Youth Hub, which was launched last month, which is a great space for toddlers, for mums to have that chance to sit down and have a coffee and have a play area for the kids.
That sounds joyous. Coffee and play area.
Yeah, indoors, which is great. And Hornsby's got some amazing facilities now, especially there's a park coming down the road next door to the old bowling club site where there's going to be a great kids facility as well, but again, it's outdoors. And we just offer that option of having an indoor space with a nice cafe. The food sensation, our chef is amazing. And it gives that opportunity, and it's a safe space. Everyone that works at PCYC has their working with children checked. They've been police checked. All of our volunteers have gone through the same thing.
Well, speaking of which, if somebody wants to use the facilities, do they need to have a police or a children's check as well?
Correct. So if you want to become a venue hire, you do need a working with children check, and we do a police check on site, so our police can offer that. It's just
you have the people.
We have the people. we have the contacts, so it's just the working with children check that needs to be valid, and that is for our venue hire. Anyone that's involved in the activity, for example the ladies that will be coming to do the cooking. That starts in July. That will be that the organiser has the working with children check and the police check. All other people involved need to be members.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that's good because that grows your membership base,
correct.
obviously. And then it feeds through, because if you're opening up the facilities to organisations, they're making themselves and others aware of it, and then obviously...
And that makes us a safe space as well. So we get teenagers coming in to do their homework, and parents that have got younger kids are sending their 12 and 13-year-olds across the road from their unit block because the younger kids are stopping the older kids from studying. So we have kids logging onto our Wi-Fi and studying in our youth hub area, which gives them... And the parents know that it's a safe space. and
Yes.
that's what we're all about.
And that's an interesting thought, actually, because I think that there's a lot of fear out there with all these unit blocks popping up like Christmas crackers in our local area. Now, Waitara's been there, done that, been through it. Do you think you serve as a green space for the local community, and should you be the only one, or should we still be demanding more and more green space of our local politicians?
Look, the more spaces for the community, the better. I mean, we love being part of the community that we're in now. We love our location. We love the fact that we're servicing those apartments as their backyard, pretty much.
Let's get another one in. We need one at Mount Cola.
Another PCYC?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right.
Excellent. We'll work on that, shall we?
No, we'll just take the membership where we are.
Yeah. It's too far to travel. It's a needle. But that's the thing. I mean, it's a space that is in that the community is entitled to. Tell me, just out of curiosity, when the building works were going on, was that ticking a box for the development application, the fact that it was a community green space? Is that one of the ways you were able to access such a huge chunk of land in amongst all those blocks?
Council had identified the need for additional court space in the community, and they were allocating some funds to extend the brick pit. So when we come along with our project, here we are right in the hub, right in the middle of all the high-rise. So rather than extend the brick pit, they were able to use some of the Section 94 funds to invest into our project. So the money, our building was a $15 million project. That rolls off the tongue. But the reality is the previous site had gone through rezoning, so we were able to make the money out of the sale of that property. Our commitment to council was that all that money would be invested into the new building, not siphoned off and back to state office. So the commitment to council was we'll invest all that money into the new project, and then we invited council to contribute through Section 94 funds into the project, which they did. So essentially they've added on one of the sports courts and some of the parking as part of a council contribution to our project. So it's our building.
Yes. But you couldn't have done those extra things without that
exactly.
funding.
So we need that with our support from council to be able to get the amenity we have today. David talked a few things, mentioned about the cafe. The cafe is phenomenal, and we've actually hosted dinners for Rotary, breakfast and dinners. So there's something for the community to keep in mind. We can host functions there. And
cater.
And all the catering came from internally. Everyone has walked away saying that was an amazing meal. The pricing was good. The venue was great.
So really you're talking about potential breakfast networking groups. I know that there are a number of, there is a need. For example, we don't have a B&I at the moment, but if an organisation was looking to start up, then that's the perfect venue and a perfect venue to small business to learn about facilities.
Wollongong Rotary came in on International Women's Day for a breakfast meeting. Hot breakfast was served by the cafe, 60 people. Not a problem.
Not a problem.
So it was just, it worked out fantastically. And everyone, again, went away saying that was a great meal, a great venue. The atmosphere was good. And
those catering facilities, they're available for people who want to hire function rooms as well?
Absolutely.
So you don't even have to worry about catering?
No. So the only thing that we don't have, and it's because we're a police youth club, is alcohol
licensing.
Correct.
Okay. Is somebody able to, just playing devil's advocate here, is somebody who's got a responsible service of alcohol able to be there and serve the alcohol on premises, or is there absolutely no tolerance whatsoever?
So there's the opportunity where we can apply for a one-day licence if need be. But at the moment, we're steering clear of it. We're looking at offering Year 6 formals and Year 10 formals and school graduations where we're not looking for that type of event.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because it's not really aligned with the PCYC values too much, is it?
Correct. I mean, we've got places like Magpies and the RSL club that looks after the 18s and the 21st.
Yeah.
So
speaking of which, that's actually groups as clubs New South Wales, I suppose. But that's to big organisations, well-established organisations you connect in with. How do you interconnect with Magpies, Waitara, and other sporting clubs as well?
Yeah, so I used to work with the RSL club, so I have an in there, but we haven't established a firm relationship because we were looking at our close by neighbours first. So Magpies have been amazing to us.
They're a great club, very community orientated.
Yeah, they signed all of their junior rugby league players up to the PCYC this year as part of their registration. They got membership with PCYC, which is great. In turn, if their senior teams have had bad weather or whatever, they've been coming into the gym to do their training instead of up at Story Park for bad weather. The Hornsby Lions also signed every one of their juniors up to membership, which was great as part of their registration. And with Hornsby Lions, we've been able to offer them at certain times during wet weather, again, an opportunity to be on our courts and running some training on our courts from time to time where the availability is there for them to use, which is great because we want to be able to encourage that Hornsby Lions, we're not competing. We're both organisations that are serving the community.
You're collaborating.
If you want to play rugby in this area, you can't come to PCYC to do it. We don't do rugby. So you go to Hornsby Lions or you go to another club. If you want to play rugby league, we don't have a rugby league club. You go to Magpies or Barrow or whoever else is your local team. We're there with our gymnastics and our basketball and that. And even with basketball, Hornsby Spiders are the local district association, and they rent space off us and the Brick Pit. And the Brick Pit are at, like, they are constantly looking for new spaces where their association can go. So, again, we're not competing with the Brick Pit. We're there to facilitate and help them take some of that load, because basketball is a massive growing sport again, and the fact that Andrew Bogut's now signed with the Sydney Kings.
Who?
He's an NBA player.
Okay.
Who's signed with the Sydney Kings.
I believe you.
Basketball in this area is just going to go from strength to strength. So we've council actually approached us because Brick Pit approached them in regards to what more in basketball we can offer, because they are struggling for space, or is there other sports we can offer so Brick Pit can take more basketball?
That segues nicely to what I was going to ask towards the end of the show, actually. What is it, if you had a blank check or a wish list, what is it that local, state, federal politics or you know, what can they give you more? What is it? Is it funding? What can you use best? Is it interconnectivity? Is it someone that you can speak to on council that becomes your point of call? Is it just better relationships and better communication? What do you think, if you could ask for it, is lacking the most?
I think apart from funding's the obvious answer, but apart from funding, I think it's that connectivity with council in regards to what we have going on. The ability to promote us within the community, within council.
Does council promote you at all?
Not a lot.
Do they put it on Facebook page or anything like that?
No. So at the moment, our Facebook reaches can be anywhere from a standard post 700. If we put some marketing money behind it, we get 2,000 people read our post, and that's a successful result. If the local area command happen to share our post, the police, which they do quite often, it's amazing because our reach bumps from 2,000 up to 6,000 or 7,000 because the local area command have such a big reach and massive Facebook following, which is great for us. If the council were able to offer that type of thing, to promote something on the website in regards to later in the year, we're going to have our major fundraiser, which will be called the Time for Kids Carols Undercover, and we want to work that around. I want to talk to council about working it around so that we don't tread on toes in regards to the carols at Asquith or the carols at the San. We want to be able to work a date that...
But you need that connectivity.
Correct.
You need that person to speak to who is across. And we've got a great community events team on council. Yep. But sometimes I know, as yourselves running a business and other small businesses do struggle with who to pick up the phone and speak to.
Yeah.
And I am going to get on my political horse here and say that other councils in the local area, your Ku-ring-gai Council, which you work very well with, do have an economic development officer. And here's an example of where that person is a great person to pick up the phone to and speak to and get that connectivity with council and say, hey, we've got this big event, can you please promote that? So sometimes it's not, Peter, in your experience with all the decades, it's not necessarily just about the dollars. It's about being, just like you are, a collaborative force. And that's where I see council, quite honestly, needs to do a better job, almost like you have done it so organically in less than a year. It's phenomenal. That could be where the support comes in, perhaps.
Yeah, and we've got a great relationship with council at that top level. So the
councillors,
the councillors and the deputy general manager, Bob Stevens, those people up there, we've got this great relationship, but I think it's got to filter down to the people who are doing the work.
Yeah, that's right. And because the resources are there. This is that connectivity thing. We've got such a high volume of volunteers in our community. It's just about finding an umbrella, if you will, that just makes it all interact better in a more collaborative nature.
And we are talking to council about, years ago we used to have band nights, and in partnership with the council. And council sort of dropped that, but we've raised that again with a couple of the councillors.
That'd be fantastic, because there's nothing, there's no live music.
Some of those activities back in.
Yes.
And because the PCYC is the perfect venue.
Are you allowed to hold live music because of your proximity to...
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah. We've already done that, so... but we were doing that at the old bowling club site, the other side of the oval. Not an issue. So, and there's a lot of sound deadening in the building, so sound doesn't permeate out, so...
Well, and then in your connectivity with the local schools, there could be a battle of the bands, local competition that can feed in through the national level.
And our Carols event, we've invited the local church that hires our venue on a Sunday. They are going to provide the music, and we've invited Waitara Public to provide the choir and the dance groups.
Awesome.
So again, it's about community. It's about getting schools and local businesses and local churches and everything involved so that we can run an amazing event and make some money so that our programs can continue to get bigger and better in regards to what we're offering the community.
That's fantastic.
Well, we're very privileged to have Waitara Public School so close to us.
Yeah.
And they're going through a major redevelopment this year as well. So, and they need the space, and the school just goes on as normal whilst all this major redevelopment goes on. But about 180 kids at a time hit the PCYC. It is unbelievable. It is the most exciting thing to see. These kids everywhere, the table tennis, parkour, on the sports course. It's just
a hive.
I think
a hive, as you said, a hive of activity.
Yeah, I get so excited when I see these kids coming in. It's just brilliant. So, I'd love to see more primary schools engaged with us as well. So we've got this opportunity there. Another thing too is, whilst we're a youth organisation, and right emblazoned across the front of our building is empowering youth, and that's the mantra of the PCYC. But we're there for all ages and all people. So what do we do for seniors? We've got this massive 12-storey building going up across the laneway from us on our front door. So what do we do for seniors? We've got space in the morning from 9 to 12. Where the schools come in primarily in the afternoon, very busy. The morning is quiet, we've got space. So what do we do for seniors with seniors activities for badminton, basketball, table tennis, the cafe, fitness programs? We've got this opportunity in front of us that we can address in time. Plus the fact you've got all the retirement villages all through here. So we've got this seniors as a big part of our community.
And more aged care facilities coming as well, potentially. That's on the cards. Look, I'd like to thank you both very much for coming today. We've learnt a great deal about what programs you offer, who you connect with the local community, and importantly, the way that small business can interact with PCYC as well as yourselves and find out the facilities that are there. That is definitely something that we've all learned today. So thank you very much for coming on the program, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Now, what's the best way to find out more about everything, and what's the best contact details for you?
Jump onto our website, as I said, www.pcycnsw.org.au, or give us a buzz on 8998 5400.
It is your local community centre, so make sure that you use it as one of these wonderful facilities. So thank you for coming on the program. Or drop in, indeed. Yeah, come in and do it. Go in and do a tour. Exactly. Look, thanks for coming on the program, guys. We will be back next week with Small Biz Matters with even more fantastic guests, information, education, advocacy, and everything that you need to run your business more effectively and productively. You've been listening to Small Biz Matters. My name is Alexi Boyd. I will see you all next week, Tuesday, 9 a.m. on Triple H 100.1 FM.